Ew, what is up? What is happening? Hope everybody's doing well. So, we got the initial clear of Act 6 done. Pretty fun. I had some fun. There was some tough stuff, but I don't think it's too bad. Especially if you're just going for an initial clear, there's definitely some very doable paths. Okay, so I just want to give you an idea of what I did, what I think the easiest paths are, who I think are the best counters to certain things. Let's do it. So I think overall, 6.3 was my favorite. So this first one has a Saber Tooth boss, and it is the node where it is no retreat. So you evade, you dex back, and then you have a buff that counts for 1.2 seconds, right? And then you can dash back again. If you dash back within that time, you get a degen for 200% of the defender's attack over 5 seconds. So it's just something to get used to. Most of the time, it's actually pretty easy to get around. Some defenders are going to be more difficult than others. If they have really aggressive AIs, that's going to be kind of a little bit more difficult. The Saber Tooth was a pain in my ass because I wasn't going at it with the right champs. So basically, I'd say the easiest path for this one is to go up through Agent Venom here, then take a left, go to Red Skull, and then go to Iron Patriot. A lot of this stuff you don't really need that many counters to going through the path. Now up until this Saber Tooth, you can do it if you can. The hard thing about this Saber Tooth is that it's oscillate and the no retreat thing. So he's got such an aggressive AI that you're going to be taking some block damage, and he's got the Indomitable, so his healing can't be reversed. It's only heal blocked. So I think my first choice would be a Void. If you have a Void, go in with Void. That'll probably be okay. I think you'll be. You can get the feel of the fight. It won't be too bad. You've got such a big health pool, especially at 565, that the degen won't even be that big of a deal. Now, I was like trying to go in with Sentinel and Beardo, and those champs are okay. I'm sure some people could definitely get the solo if they had the skills. I would say Quake is a fantastic counter because there's no limber. You can just parry. So you can just, like, Quake style him. So I actually ended up bringing my Quake up to 455, actually, to just help me out with this one. And it definitely worked. So Void, Quake, probably the two best options. Archangel is probably a really great option. Sentinel's okay. Beardo's okay. There are some doable situations, but I would say Void, Quake, or who was that? Yeah, Void, Quake, Archangel, Sentinel. You could do pretty well if you had the right play style. Sparky actually did okay because of the auto evades. That was actually pretty decent. So yeah, not too bad. Quake made my life a whole lot easier. 6.1.2. Now this one, let's see, what do we got going on here? Skip through this. So you're going to want to jump up to, you want to jump up to Captain America. So you want to take Portal, I think it's B. Yeah, you want to take B, and then take a left and hit these got 2099, Ultron, super easy. Nothing crazy with these nodes. And then you're actually just going to, some of these paths are really short, some of them are really long. So you're going to just jump up here. You got a Sentinel. Mini boss here. You got Arc Overload and Biohazard. Now I just used Beardo with a skill synergy. My Beardo's a really high sig level, so he shrugs off everything. So I was able to shrug everything off. Just parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy. Drop an L2. Done. Basically, I think you can do you could do this fight with anybody who has bleed immunity. Just don't hit into the block and you'll be fine. So you could do Luke Cage. You could do Sentinel on Sentinel. That's fine. Basically a bunch of any bleed immune champs. You could go double immunities. You could drop an Iceman in there. You could kind of do you can do a lot of, you got a lot of options for that. It's just a biohazard Sentinel, essentially. And then this Ultron is no big deal, I think. He's got some shock, so it's similar to the one Ultron in Chapter 3, but this Ultron is not immune to ability reduction. So you can just use Medusa and just shut it off. A few other options. You might have to use some revives, but you could drop a Sparky, drop some L2s on him. That shock damage is going to be pretty nice. Again, you could Quake him. You could probably Ghost. I think there are a ton of options for this Ultron. It's not too bad at all. Yeah, plenty of options for this Ultron. I don't think you're going to have that much trouble with him. Gulk is a great option. You got a bunch of options for this one. So I wouldn't worry too much about this one. 6.1.2 is kind of a walk in the park. No big deal there. All right, so then getting over to 6.3. Now, this is probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite bit. One, and most importantly, is because of the global node, is long-distance relationship. So basically, the closer you are to the defender, you gain a weakness buff. If you're running willpower, you just regen this entire quest. So another cool thing about this one is you can do like a ton of fights. Like Legacy did it in 3 paths, I think. You can just hit a bunch of fights at once. So if you have an Aegon, you're going to have a good time on this one. I think your only issue, so I took, this one's probably the easiest. You go straight up to Wolverine, Old Man Logan. You go to Vision, then you go Daredevil, Deadpool, Agent Venom, Crossbones, Kingpin, Rogue. Go up through here. You got Thing there. Not a hard fight. Just bring a bleeder. Gwenpool, Blade. Pretty solid options for that one. And then you got this Ghost, who's a super easy. This is probably one of the easiest mini boss. You're just gonna, nothing crazy actually. If you want an armor breaker, you just shut everything off. But that's a super easy fight. I wouldn't worry about that one at all. Okay, so now going into 6.1.4, we got another kind of a gimme. This one's not too bad. Okay, so you're gonna go down and then hop over to A. Okay, then you've got Phoenix, Saber Tooth, Wolverine, Guillotine, Hood. Nothing crazy, super easy fights. So the buff for this one is called, the global node is called Close Encounters. So closer you are, you regen. If you get far, you're going to start degenning. The degen isn't crazy, so don't panic. Just play pretty normally. You might need to use a few pots, but it's not a big deal. And then you're just going to jump over to the boss, and it's Loki. Loki is no big deal. I wouldn't worry too much about Loki. He just has, a few things. You can't change his ability. You can't, reduce his abilities. Unblockable L1. Nothing crazy, man. Another gimme. So many good champions for this. You could take this with nearly anybody. Just adult. So many champions for that. You don't need a specific champ for that. Okay, so the next fight. This is probably going to be the hardest boss in Chapter 6. It's Crossbones. This quest, yeah, the Crossbones is kind of tough. So there's actually a bug with him as well, and I'll talk you through that one. So basically, you want to go up and then go to the left. You're going to hit Superior Iron Man, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Saber Tooth, Venom, She-Hulk, Old Man Logan, Winter Soldier. Then you're just going to hop over here. And you are going to go to the Crossbones boss. Now, this Crossbones is tough, man. Super hard. So basically, the global node is every time he hits a bar of power, you gain a bar of power. But if he, let's read it again. The attacker, so you cannot gain power during the fight. Each time a defender reaches a full bar of power, the attacker is granted one as well. Whenever the defender launches a special attack, the attacker loses the equal amount. So basically, if he gains this L1, you get an L1. If he uses an L1, you lose a bar of power. that's kind of okay. It kind of sucks. So you got Biohazard and Vigor. This fight's hard, man. I know at face value, you're kind of just like, what? What's wrong with it? It's tough, man. So I know Seaton took him down with Iceman. You've got Sentinel does okay. There's a bug, though, because there's a... Okay, when Crossbones gains a bar of power, you're supposed to gain a bar of power, right? So if you're timing your 5-hit combo and you push him to 1 bar of power, you then can use yours before he launches it, right? There's an issue because it'll give you... You'll be able to use your special, but it won't fill your bar of power. It's so weird. So when he uses... So, like, you'll push him to a full bar, and then you'll use yours. You won't show a green bar. And he somehow, in that split, like, delay, he's able to block your special that you're trying to chain onto your combo. It's so weird, dude. It's a really weird combo. Just be careful with Sentinel, though, because, like, you might just want to wait until you actually see a full bar of power before you use it. There's this weird little bug. If you encounter this, just be careful at that fight. Now, of course, Omega Red is probably going to be your best counter. You could probably go at it with any bleed immune and stun immune, but that's not going to be the easiest situation because you've got Vigor and he's shrugging off. You could go, you could Quake style him. You could throw in some Quake if you got the Quake skills. I could see Ghost doing, you know, if you were really good at the Ghost situation, but if he's throwing L1s a lot, the Ghost might be difficult. So Iceman, Omega Red are going to be your top champs for that situation. I did it. I've heard some people getting lucky with Domino and doing well on that fight, but I just kind of threw champs at him. Sentinel was my best. Sentinel's a good option for this fight, actually. Just be careful. I might just end up throwing your specials after your 4th hit. Don't chain on a medium because there's some weird bug there. So yeah, definitely a tough fight. If you have any other counters you can think of, let me know. I'd love to hear some more. Okay, so then going on to the final chapter. The final chapter is a Sentinel chapter, and this one's not too bad either. I think the fights are a little bit longer in this one, but I really didn't have too many problems here. It's just that Crossbones that sucks. So basically you're going to go up to Moon Knight, you're going to go all the way up through Havoc, to Heimdall, X-23, Wolverine. These guys are just unblockable while they're regenning, so be careful with that. You just got to basically bait out specials and stuff. So Hurt Locker, using the same type of special attack twice in a row, gives the attacker delayed blast charge for 5 seconds. So for this entire chapter, just don't use the same special 2 times in a row. You're going to go through these guys, and then you're going to jump up to the boss. Now, there's a specific way you have to play the Sentinel. Because of Hurt Locker, you could really go in with anybody you want. You could go in with Sparky probably, and that would be pretty good. And just drop L2s on him. He's got fisticuffs, so for the first 30 seconds, you're not going to be able to place any buffs on him. Here's the strategy you want to take with Medusa. This is what somebody told me worked very well. Okay, so you're going to go in, because keep in mind you're not supposed to use 2 specials in a row of the same one, right? So you're going to wait out 30 seconds. Maybe you drop an L2, maybe you drop an L3, like whatever you need to do, right? As soon as those 30 seconds are up, go in and drop an L1. You're going to armor shatter, then you're going to build up to an L3, kind of rinse and repeat. So basically you're going to be rotating the L1 and the L3. There is a power drain on it, Plagued Mind, so maybe Sparky isn't going to be as great. So with the Plagued Mind, it's kind of difficult, except Medusa shuts off that Plagued Mind. So Medusa is definitely going to be your top counter for this one. Plenty of other options, though. Void to be fine. Not too many bad situations here. What signs reduce the duration of the target's debuff effects? Yeah, I mean, you know, basically this is just a long fight unless you use Medusa. Plenty of counters. There's nothing too crazy other than... you know, don't use the same special 2 times in a row. All right, guys. Well, that has been the little quick tips for the initial clear of Chapter 6. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll check you guys later. Peace!
Oh my god. Hi, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.